Welcome to the World United. Welcome to the World United.
Next speaker for today is T. Dench Patel, also called as Tulsi. She was born in a segregated area in apartheid South Africa within a patriarchal society. So when she met the works of Shakespeare, English literature, it became one of her favorite subjects. English literature, that is, as she began writing as a teenager until she chose everything else that she was passionate about. She had then a spiritual awakening. She had no idea what spirituality was then, but later she discovered a whole new different way of living. She understands that synchronicity should, what would it feel like, and that spirituality has connected her to her why. Thank you so much, Denj Patel, for being a part of our forum. And your topic for today is the spirit and the demon. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you for inviting me to speak here today. Really appreciate it. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday and a wonderful weekend here. So my name goes by Tulsi Patel, but my writer name, as you see here, is T. Dench Patel. And the title of today's speech is The Spirit and the Demon. A little bit about my background is I was born in apartheid South Africa. I went to an all-Indian school in a segregated area outside of Johannesburg. And also domestic violence in apartheid seemed to be the norm. I wrote 2 books based on a true story called The South African True Colors and a children's book, which is fictional, called Light. I'm going to try and share my screen if that's okay, so that we can follow the slides. And let's see, there we go, here we are. I'll just share over this one, and I will, whoops, did I just, can you see that? All right. And I just try to go to slideshow, where, there we go, and begin. Brilliant. So like my relationship with spirituality actually started when I started to ask the question when I was 19 years of age. I was jobless and I was walking with my friend who believed in Islam. And as we went on these walks, I wondered about God. I asked a lot of questions and I didn't really know what to believe until I had my first spiritual awakening, which was in my first full-time job. I just turned 21 or close to turning 21, and then I was held at gunpoint in my job. And I guess my spiritual journey really started when I decided to go shortly after that to go and live my life in England. And I went with 1,300 pounds to my name, nothing else. And really that's where I started to learn about life and how I should maneuver through the learnings and how do I start from zero, basically. But the most profound experience of spirituality happened to me in 2013 when I left a relationship with psychological abuse and verbal abuse. And I found myself having panic attacks, anxiety, palpitations. And I found meditation, and meditation found me. And overcoming this healing of the psychological abuse actually made me find out more about the mind, body, spirit, and soul, which leads me to 7 years later, the person sitting here in front of you today, who is 100% healed from that situation, can now transmit messages from mind, body, soul in alignment. And so you will notice on my slides a link at the bottom of each slide. And in case you can't see it properly, it says https://tdenchpatel.com. Some people will never like you because your spirit irritates their demons, Denzel Washington. The reason why I chose this topic was because someone asked me initially to write about this topic. And then I gave this topic this title, and then Google placed this article #1 during this year in the ranking, and currently it's on #4. I realized that a lot of people are asking questions about the spirit, and many people were saying this article is good. And I thought it would be great to share this message with more people. And so, if anything, my books has really taught me is like the South African True Colors, the South African Roma, or the children's book, is that we all have challenges in life, and no one is really, you know, some people will look like they're not struggling, but they are struggling. And so these, like, one day you just never know, you know, if your child is going through bullying, or one day your husband or wife could come and say, I want a divorce. And you have no idea where these palpitations, anxiety, and the root cause of how you're feeling is actually coming from. So we actually taught to tackle life, you know, on survival mode. And only recently have we realized that there's actually a root cause to maybe what we're going through physically, that is coming through physically in our body through illness, etc. There's one thing that we don't think about when we are being raised, or when we're raising our kids, is that we are not born with ego, pride, arrogance, attitudes, selfishness, false beliefs. We learn all that here when we come to earth. We also learn that through our influences, and we also learn this through bad experiences, because no one teaches us about how to behave, you know. And so, which leads to the question of, are we here to roam around? Are we here to live unintentionally? Are we here to, you know, just experience life and fall into our demons? Or are we here to improve ourselves and enhance our human experience? Let's face it, no one teaches us anything about emotions. We don't go to school of emotional intelligence. And we don't get tested on this. We don't get tested on subjects like, you know, what are you feeling right now? Are you feeling sadness? We get tested on geography, mathematics, you know, science.
Kindly share your screen properly. Go back
Oh.
and share, please.
Oh, you cannot. Okay, wait. Let me stop share and go back to share screen. And we go back on that. No, actually on that slide. There we go. And I'll just click on here.
Yes, it's visible now.
Perfect.
Is it all right? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. Wait, I'm just going to move this bit because it's there we go. And resume slideshow. There we go. Okay, so can you see that all right? Yeah, great. Okay, amazing. So, you know, it's only until recently that we discovered, excuse me, we discovered that, you know, children behave in a certain way. And over recent years, we started to understand where this is coming from. As young adults, we usually tend to just hang around with young people, and there's no one really leading each other to, you know, in terms of the behaviors you're having or in terms of the influence you've got. Usually that is why adults supervise till a certain age, their children and the way they are being raised. In this world we're living in, it's truly the survival of the fittest, and growing up, we really don't get taught about behaviors. So young adults are basically struggling, and they want freedom because they're waiting for the legal drinking age, legal driving age. There's always a legal something to their age, and they are feeling more and more trapped because of the control they feel at home. And so this freedom that they seek, it's really asking, are they seeking the freedom for the spirit, or are they seeking the freedom of the demon? So ego, pride, arrogance, provocation, temptation is basically everywhere. And when young people are growing up, there's hormonal changes. So they are still learning how to manage their hormones and their emotions, and which makes it very difficult for them to understand what is emotional intelligence unless we are being taught this from a very young age at school. And with the young generation, they tend to hang around each other, and there's this competition that you will find that no one will actually own up to something that is inaccurate, or that they have pointed their friend in a direction which wasn't really correct. So there's a tiny percent of generations that really know about this concept, because they're growing up and they're learning from mistakes. And today's youngsters know much more than we have when we were their age. So with Generation Z, you find that they consume data, information at a rapid speed, but their attention span is really low. So when they are faced with inequality, injustice in the workplace, they are, because of this culture before coronavirus that we had instant gratification, they tend to move off the job or situations like this very quickly because of inequality and injustice. So this external world has really pretty much created so much of pressure for us to get a car at a certain age, or with the legal drinking age, now we can drink. We now at the time where we can get a job, and it's time now to get a girlfriend, and it's time now to get married, etc. So you've got this constant competition that our young people are, and the older generation to some extent, are dealing with. And you don't know if you're coming from, as a young person in your 20s, are you coming from manipulation, lies, provocation, false beliefs, until you get a literal slap or figurative slap in your face by your demons. And then you actually get a spiritual awakening or calling. So when we teach if we were to implement emotional intelligence, or make our young generation understand that the demon maybe is inside you, this ego, temptation, provocation, false beliefs, the lies, the manipulation, and maybe this is the demon itself. And when you make someone aware that where they could be operating from, then it's really, you put your head down and work, and until you figure out and find out this demon, you can really improve yourself and your life. And so that way you would know where you're operating from, which demon or which part of the spirit. There's an entire world here, and we cannot really change anyone outside of us. The change has to happen first within us. So by being aware of our spirit and how we can uplift our spirit through, being aware and understanding self-improvement and self-help to yourself, you can change the energy of your spirit. So this is where some people will either get in tune, learn from their mistake, and then follow what is asked of them, or follow their path, and others could be just following a pattern all over again. And when someone decides they're going to follow their spiritual path and they're going to follow the spirit, then self-discipline, willpower, and practices will be implemented, which is maybe we'll find ourselves in jobs, in a social circle, or in our family itself, where people are operating from a negative space. And especially right now in coronavirus, we have a lot of people who are demotivated and are feeling lack of enthusiasm. And it's up to our spirit to be responsible for our spirit and that energy that we carry, to uplift it and not fall for the negativity and these negative stories. And this can help put a perspective on our demons. And it's a lifetime process to actually make sure that you are playing off the demon. The spirit is playing off the demon. That's not what you want. You want the demon to play off the spirit, So I think I said that the other way around. So you actually really want to overpower that demon, and instead of the demon overpowering the spirit. So ultimately, taking control of your spirit and your spiritual energy, and ensuring that you're not in an emotional and spiritual dump, is a responsibility, because this is the energy you're giving out from your spirit. And this energy, if your energy is positive, you attract more positive things to you. And one would, but how would actually one go about breaking this whole cycle if they do want to accomplish their spiritual journey, or at least start on a spiritual path? Then breaking the cycle would, a system that I use, for example, is initially I wrote down on a piece of paper all my morals, and on another piece of paper I wrote down all my values, and on another piece of paper I wrote down a few affirmations of who I wish to be. And every morning when I woke up, I started to read my morals, my values, and the affirmations. Then every 6 months, I take a new look at these morals, values, affirmations, and just see if anything has been off that list or needs to go onto that list, and re-evaluate who I want to be from there, write a new set of affirmations, and then continue this every morning again. So when we put our head down and we follow our spirit, our journey, some people will never like us because our spirit irritates their demons. Do not fall for their demons. Thank you. That is the end of my speech.